A federal judge has fired off a warning to the Trump Department of Justice if they continue to meddle in the case against Luigi Mangione, the young man who was, of course, accused of killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson back in December of 2024. District Judge Margaret Garnett, who is a Biden appointee based in Manhattan, alleged in an order Wednesday that social media posts belonging to two high-ranking DOJ officials, which were parroting a claim made by Donald Trump about the guilt of Mangione, who has not been to trial yet, may have violated court rules. Whoops. As a result, of course, the Justice Department could face sanctions for violating Mangione's right to a fair trial. To which I say, of course,
whoopsie.
Whoopsie indeed. Also, stupid. All right. So now, here's the thing, okay? Garnett had to explain to the Department of Justice that, hey, maybe you should not declare someone to be guilty before facing trial, okay? You know that whole innocent until proven guilty thing? Kind of important, okay? It's kind of a cornerstone of our legal system in this country, you know, for government officials, the people who are prosecuting him, to not declare him to be guilty, okay? Now, the judge ordered federal prosecutors to advise Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche that the department could face some financial penalties or even contempt of court findings if they continued to violate court rules. Now, where did this come from? Well, Mangione's attorneys had flagged a pair of posts to Garnett in a motion filed earlier this month. These posts were made by Chad Gilmartin, Deputy Director of the DOJ's Office of Public Affairs, as well as Brian Neves, Blanche's Chief of Staff. Gilmartin shared a post by the White House's Rapid Response 47 account on the social media platform X, which included a snippet of an interview that Trump had given on Fox News. In that interview, Trump said, quote, Mangione shot him right in the middle of the back, instantly dead. Gilmartin took that quote, posted it, writing that Trump was absolutely right. Neves then retweeted the post, which Gilmartin has since deleted because, oops, you basically just said that the man who has not been to trial yet was guilty of it. Not good. Now, Garnett issued a warning back in April, and at the time stated that the rule would apply to all levels of the Department of Justice, including Attorney General Pam Bondi. So this goes all the way to the top, okay? All the way to the top of the chain. Those two, by the way, weren't the only instances. Mangione's legal team also pointed to remarks made by others within the Trump administration as tainting his right to a fair trial. What do I mean? Well, one example was Stephen Miller. Stephen Miller, who said that Mangione had partook in, quote, radical left terrorism. Radical left terrorism. While White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt had referred to Mangione as a, quote, left-wing assassin. Yeah, that's, I mean, it's pretty clear that they are absolutely tainting this case. Here's the thing, though, right? The situation isn't left or right here. Healthcare affects everyone on the political spectrum, okay? Both people on the left and right denounced the murder of Brian Thompson, but also talked about how the greed of the industry, and I remember doing videos talking about comments here. Ben Shapiro, right, had a revolt from his own audience about this very issue, right? Because he was defending Thompson as well as United Healthcare's practices, business practices that were championed by Thompson. Okay, and I'll get into the details on that. But a lot of people were like, hey, wait a minute. wait a minute, it's the greed of the industry is killing us. It is killing us. All right, all of us. And so that was the conversation where, again, you had people from across the aisle both saying what United Healthcare, what United Healthcare is doing is immoral, and it is leading to the deaths of people. Okay. In fact, look, United Healthcare had the highest amount of claim denials in the entire industry. Roughly a third of all claims were automatically denied by this company. And that number goes even higher when you talked about patients on Medicare Advantage plans, which are private plans. Okay. About 90% of the claims made by those patients, who are overwhelmingly elderly, many of them are in nursing homes or have, again, a lot of them are sick or might not be able to otherwise fight against those claim denials. 90% of them were denied automatically. And this was thanks to an algorithm instituted by Brian Thompson, who had bragged to shareholders about, look how much I increased profits. Look at how much I increased profit. Well, every time you deny a claim, that's money in your pocket. So that's how that worked out. So trying to characterize this as left-wing violence, it's a distraction. It's a complete politicization of violence. This was not someone who was on the left or someone who was on the right. Simply someone who wanted to send a message about greed in the healthcare industry, which affects all of us. Okay. Now that said, this case didn't even fit the definition of terrorism. That's why the judge in this case threw out 2 terrorism charges earlier this month. So take your radical left terrorism charge, Stephen Miller, and shove it right back up your ass. Okay? But anyway, Luigi Mangioni's lawyers wrote, the government has indelibly prejudiced Mr. Mangione by baselessly linking him to unrelated violent events and left-wing extremist groups, despite there being no connection or affiliation. A recent tragic high-profile murder, they're talking about Charlie Kirk here, has only increased this prejudicial rhetoric. The attempts to connect Mr. Mangione with these incidents and paint him as a left-wing violent extremist are false, prejudicial, and part of a greater political narrative that has no place in a criminal case, especially one where the death penalty is at stake. Absolutely. Now, look, the Trump Department of Justice, or I should say Department of Injustice at this point, it is filled with dumb people, okay? These idiots could end up getting the case against Mangione thrown out in a mistrial, okay? Because they, tainted the jury. Or, and there's, of course, the other possibility that jury nullification, because they wouldn't be able to prove their case. This guy could end up walking because our government has been filled with unqualified partisan political hacks, okay, who have been taking every single opportunity. It doesn't matter what it is. Doesn't matter what case. They're using it as an opportunity to try to blame their political enemies, to blame the left for everything. This right here is kind of a defense lawyer's dream. I mean, just pointing to all these different examples of them trying to prejudice or poison a jury, right? Or poison a case like this is just, again, a great example of what not to do in a criminal trial. This guy may end up walking, okay? And so, good job, government. Good job, Trump appointees, the DOJ. You really effed up on this one, or at least we'll see if that happens. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media,
through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.